Hey guys, welcome back to Icon. Travis here again. Today we're going to be talking about how to follow up with those prospects now that you have put in process. So let's go ahead and do a real quick recap. So first of all, number one, we've put together a comprehensive names list. Great job. Number two, we've identified those top 10 people that are on that list, and we've put them in process using the scripts that we have available for you. We've talked about having conversations and how conversations lead to invitations, and ultimately how your responsibility is just to invite people to take a look at what we're doing and to get them to one of our educational seminars. So today we're going to talk about how to follow up after you've invited them to take a look at one of those seminars. So first of all, number one is you need to understand that the follow-up starts before you get off of the phone with your invite. It actually starts all the way back on that initial conversation that you're having with someone. And let me give you an example. So hopefully by now you've downloaded Eric Worre's 8 Steps to Contacting and Inviting. And you'll notice that those last few steps are always confirming the next time that you're going to have a conversation with someone. You never get off of the phone or finish a conversation or an invitation without first confirming or scheduling the next follow-up. So I'll give you an example. So, I might reach out to a good friend of mine and go through the invitation process, and I'll tell him, hey, listen, I'm glad that I caught you. I've only got a quick second. And then I pay him a compliment. Listen, I've always respected you in business. You've always been wildly successful, and that's something that I've always admired about you. And then I make my invitation. Hey, listen, you know what? I have come across something that I'm super excited about, and I think that you and I can really do something special. Listen, if I were to send you a presentation that explained in greater detail what it is that I'm working on, would you be willing to take a look at it, right? If I would you, for the most powerful words in network marketing. And let's say that the person on the other end says, sure, yeah, I'd be happy to. Well, that doesn't mean necessarily that they're going to take a look at it. There's maybe about a 20-30% chance they'll follow through. But if you just take it a little bit further and say, great, when do you think you might be able to take a look at it? And now they say, oh, well, I could take a look at it tonight. And then you confirm and you follow up and say, great, so if I followed up with you tomorrow, you'll have had a chance to watch it? They said, yeah, absolutely. Great, what time should I call you tomorrow? 7 o'clock, is this number okay? Great, I'll call you tomorrow at 7. You see, I don't get off of a phone call or finish any conversation, even if it's a Facebook Messenger, without first confirming the next follow-up. If you forget this step, what's going to happen is you're going to end up chasing people. So remember, number one thing that I want you to remember is the follow-up begins during the invitation process. Now, here's the second thing. And a lot of people avoid the follow-up because they're afraid of that rejection. But here's the thing that I want you to understand. People are not saying no to you. They're not saying, listen, you're the last person I want to do business with. What they're saying, if they choose not to get involved in this business, is, look, the timing isn't right for me right now. Or in most cases, if you really want to know why people say no, I just don't believe in myself. I don't believe that I could be successful in this environment. So it's our job, through the process that we're going to take them through this funnel that we've been talking about, to help them arrive at a conclusion where they say, yeah, I could see myself being successful here. So when you follow up with someone, it's as simple as just asking a couple of key questions. Remember, we talk about how asking the right questions always gives you the right answers. So when I follow up with someone, I typically ask them, number one, I say, well, listen, what did you like best about the presentation that you saw? Now, I don't just say, hey, what did you think, right? I'm soliciting a positive response. So the first thing that I ask them is I say, listen, what did you like best? And they'll come back and say, well, you know what, I found it very interesting. And they might go right into, but I have some questions. And that's great, because if they have questions, here's the thing that you need to understand. Behind those questions is a sincere interest. But sometimes, they'll say, oh, you know what, it was a really good presentation, very informative. So you have to do a little bit more work. So usually all I say is, well, listen, the people that attend those seminars usually fall into one of 3 categories. The first category are people that understand that knowledge is power, and they're interested in learning. They're interested in education. They're interested in learning more about how to trade cryptocurrency and how to start making money in this space. Now, the second group of people, they're interested in putting their money to work for them, right? And why wouldn't you? The US dollar is losing more value than it's lost historically in a long, long time. So they're interested in the mining programs that we offer. And finally, the third category of people are the people that understand that cryptocurrency is going to be booming and continue to grow over the next few years. And they want to capitalize on that, and they want to be a part of the business. They want to lock arms with us. They understand that the people that choose to lock arms with us as business professionals, as promoters, are going to benefit tremendously from the future efforts. So I guess my question to you is are you an A, B, or C? Are you interested in learning? Are you interested in putting your money to work for you? Or are you interested in the business side of things? That's it. And I let them lead me. Now, if they say none of the above, I thank for their time. I say, listen, I really appreciate you taking a closer look at this. And if this thing takes off the way that I think it's going to, would it be okay if I tapped you on the shoulder in 90 days? And they say, sure, no problem. And you know what? I remove them from the list. But in most cases, if somebody has attended our educational seminar, you got to remember that the seminar is designed to give value. What does value do? It establishes trust. It also positions us to be able to drive revenue. So usually after someone listens to the presentation, they have questions. So they might say, well, I want to understand a little bit more about the mining. So tell me a little bit more about that. And so we're going to make sure that we help them get their questions answered. Remember, our job, we're not sales closers here. All we're doing is we want to make sure that they have enough information to make a well-informed decision. Now, we realize that you are new in this business, and so you might not have all of the answers. So at this point, what we recommend that you do is you include your upline or your upline leaders. If your upline's brand new, then make sure that you get their upline on the phone. And at this point, what I would recommend is you just say to your prospect, listen, those are great questions. As you know, I just got started here as well. Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to introduce you to my business partner. He or she is an expert. They've been doing this a lot longer than I have. And you know what? I know that they would love to just say hello. They've got a great story. They can share with you their experience in this business. What's your schedule look like later today? And you find out a couple of times that work for them. Text your upline. That's the best way to reach them. Text your upline and say, listen, I've got a prospect. They have seen the presentation, which is very important. Never ask for a three-way call until your prospect has been properly taken through the funnel. You've had a conversation with them. They've seen the three-way call. Text them and say, I've got a prospect that has some questions. Do you have some availability at 3 o'clock or at 6 o'clock? Confirm the time. And then what you're going to do is confirm whether that's going to be a conversation, a phone call, or if it's going to be a Zoom. I like Zoom. I do most of my follow-ups on Zoom because I like the face-to-face interaction. I think that there's a better bond that's established and trust that's established when you can look at your prospect in the eye. I also personally like to have a whiteboard so that whatever questions come my way, I can help answer those questions and maybe take them through. You know, they might be interested in the business and want to know how they get paid. And so now I can walk them through the process of how to get paid. And most of our leaders are going to do that same thing as well. So again, the follow-up process, understand that your main responsibility is just to identify whether they're interested and where they fit into the equation, what questions they have, and then we're moving them to the next step, which is a three-way call. That's it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you watching. We'll look forward to seeing you back. Click that green button when you're finished up here and move on to the next step.